Let's first look at the budgetary requirements at the macro level. In this particular case, it's national, but national in the context of the interaction of the nation with the rest of the world. We need some budgetary allocations for strategic design and process formulation. Now these are high-end things. These are things which you need experts to get involved in. It's not something that some politician, however smart he may be, or some NGO operator or somebody can just simply sit down and say, let's do things this way. No, it doesn't happen like that. And we have to be careful about this. We have a tendency to do some fairly stupid things. I just read in the papers that a pilot has been appointed as the chairman of the Sri Lankan Airways. Now this is like employing a bus driver to run the CTB or an engine driver to run the government railway. Now this kind of thing is what I personally would call nonsense, and this kind of nonsense has got to stop. You have a big institution like an airline, and then you have to have somebody who is familiar with running these big institutions. I mean, get a CEO from a Fortune 500 company or something like that. You don't get a pilot. You wouldn't let your driver run your company for you. Why are we doing such ridiculous things? This kind of nonsense, please, has got to stop. Otherwise, we might as well forget about it and sit back and all have and relax, or better I don't know, go live in some other country and let this platform be developed by those who know what kind of potential it has and what actually the role it has to play in the future of the human species. So please, this kind of ridiculous stuff must not be engaged in the future. So that is strategic design and process formulation. These are vital elements. They have to be done, and they have to be done by experts. Now, what I have shown you as the potential of this island cannot be realized without negotiations. We have to negotiate with all of the countries around us. The countries on the Indian Ocean Rim, the SAARC countries, and the countries of BIMSTEC. We have to negotiate. Now, we have to go and tell them, this is what we are trying to do. We have to develop our stock market as a regional stock exchange. It will not happen without talking to the foreign ministers, finance ministers, and everybody concerned. And you and I cannot do that talking. You see, our Prime Minister, our President, or whoever it may be, can talk at a sort of macro level, political level. But at a technical level, for heaven's sake, we need experts. So we need to go to countries which are already functioning in this way. You know who those countries are, don't you? I don't have to tell you. We have to go there, and we have to get in touch with their central bank, and we have to find their experts, and we have to ask them whether they will help us and hope that they will agree. We will have to pay them, of course, and meet all their operating expenses. Because they are the ones who can come along with us and talk to these countries like, say, South Africa, and say, look, fine, this is how it's done. They want to do this or whatever it may be, and this is how it can be done. These are the laws that you have to introduce. These are the processes that you have to put into place. Now, these are high-level consultants. So please don't think in terms of putting our manager of this bank or that bank or something like that in charge. No. You have to get the best in the world. This is a huge regional operation that we are thinking of. It has global consequences. So we have to get the best. Now, these are the things that we need budgetary allocations for. We need similar consultancies, similar negotiations to develop the islands, and seaports. Now, I'm not talking about, now you saw what happened with the airport in this Mattal or whatever, wherever the thing was, right? You cannot, or even the Hambantota harbor, you cannot do this kind of thing. You cannot simply build a harbor or an airport and expect planes and ships to come. You have to negotiate these things. You have to see that these harbors and airports and all, they meet the requirements of all those people who you see as having to use these airports. You can't just build something and expect people to come. I mean, that's naive. And I would say that's stupid. So, to do these negotiations again, you need experts. It's not enough for someone with goodwill to go to another country and say, we want this, we want that. Yes, that is also required because that person actually projects the personality of the country, the position of the country, the attitude of the country. All that is projected by that person. But again, you need the technical support behind the scenes to do the actual negotiation and designing of how this thing is going to happen. So that you need money for. And that's what I'm talking about as a budgetary allocation. These kind of air and seaports also need technology. Now, technology is not something that people give away just because you pay them, because technology is something that they take years to develop. So if you're going to share technology, probably there will be agreements governing the use of those technologies. Again, we need technical people to negotiate these kind of things and make sure that we get the technology and that we have the systems in place to manage the technology, without which we won't get the technology. If we are going to get technology from someone and sell it all over the place, it's not going to happen. So we need these experts. They cost money, and we need budgetary allocations for that. And then we need a big chunk of money to proceed with the construction of the Trans-Asia Highway. The Trans-Asia Highway is something that was planned about 60 years ago. It's nothing to do with our previous government or any other government. Soon after the Second World War, I have the documents with me. The Trans-Asia Highway was planned and all the countries agreed that it has to happen. Exactly how it is going to happen, they had no clue at that time, but they know it has to happen. The designs are in place. You can look at the maps, it's mapped out. Exactly how the highway is going to go through Sri Lanka is already planned, right? I have not seen the plans for the railway. The railway may be more important than the highway, because if you are talking about acting as a transshipment hub, then the railway may bring goods. Container trains may bring goods which are then flown out or reprocessed here and sent abroad, whatever it may be. So these are things which have to be done. We may also have to think about a tunnel, maybe instead of a bridge. These are things also we have to think about. I mean, and we have to think about it deeply. Again, you need consultants for this kind of thing, because very few people have this knowledge. It's not that consultants are some fancy people who go around making big chunks of money. No, it's simply that if you look at the human species, the number of people who can actually think these things out and come out with the required plans are very few. That's why nobody hires them and says, you work 24/7 for me. That's why they function as consultants, so that they can go and work wherever their expertise is needed. Now, we have to hire these kind of people. Yes, they cost money. They cost money. But we have to do it. That is what we should be spending our money on. Not on propaganda and all these kind of these things. So, I mean, let's get serious for once. I have been alive now for about more than 50 years, lived most of those 50 years in this country, and I can say that I have seen strange things, strange priorities. So let's now try to get our act together and do something within these 5 years. The government has committed itself to give us a new country in 5 years. Let's get together with the government and let's see that that actually happens. Okay? Then we have this meso development. Now, I am very much aware that with this macro level development where we become this center and entry pot and all that is very nice and it will bring us a lot of money, but I know very well that money is not going to trickle down into the pockets of the man and the woman on the street. Whatever economists may tell you, and economists talk a lot about this trickle down effect doesn't happen. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer unless the government intervenes. So the government has to intervene. And the government may not be able to take chunks of money and give it away free to the people. I am not expecting that. But the government can very well make sure that people have the basic facilities that they require in order not just to live, but to develop. They have to have the support and the required facilities to study and to learn and to better their lives. For that, they need some support. If you are worried about where your next meal is going to come from, you can't study, right? Come on, have a heart. These Mahapola scholarships and all were nonsense. I remember when I was much younger, going to Peradeniya at the time when they were building this Mahaveli scheme, and I saw lots of people eating bread with plain tea, and these are young chaps, so talking to them, I found these are students from the Peradeniya campus studying with a Mahapola scholarship. That is an insult to people's intelligence. It's nonsense, right? People should have their basic requirements. They should not have to struggle for their basic requirements. And there are ways by which those basic requirements can be met, so that their minds are free to develop. This is very important because also we have this problem of a very low average national IQ. That means a large 79, that's like borderline mentally retarded. It's a serious matter. I have not heard a single politician talking about this so far. And wherever I have raised this issue in the academic circles, people have been stunned. To date, there was only one doctor I have met so far who knew what I was talking about, and he said, yes, we have this problem. So far. Not that I have met all the doctors in Sri Lanka, but of the people I have met, there was only one doctor who said, yes, I know what you're talking about. We have this problem. So our politicians don't seem to be aware of this, and this is a very serious thing that has to be taken into account. One way to take this into account is to respond to this is to make sure that people have a supportive nexus where they don't fall into the drains and die, where they have their basic requirements kind of looked after. So there are 10 basic systems that we have to look at, starting from power generation systems, communication systems, food and agricultural systems, waste recycling systems, manufacturing and transport systems, social support systems, training, education and research systems, health systems, surgical and medical systems, global networking and participation, that is planetary guidance system. Now these 10 systems require budgetary allocation. Now this is not starting from scratch. We have some of these systems running already. What we have to do is bring this process-driven management style into those systems and re-engineer the systems a little bit of systems design with an objective to make them sustainable and to make them resilient. So we are not just pottering around and tinkering around and doing some kind of, some kind of, what can we say, some kind of ornamentation. No, we have a very clear objective, rendering them sustainable and resilient and making them process-driven. So we need a budgetary allocation for that if the normal people in this country are going to have a decent life. If you are unable to make sure that the normal people in this country have a decent life, don't expect to come back to power after 5 years. Honestly, don't. People are quite smart these days, and they know if the people have elected have not delivered what they need, they will elect somebody else. And if the only people, and there's a problem because there should be alternatives. So if they are desperation to change the government, people may vote for the wrong people, wrong kind of people, and they may then find themselves leaping from the frying pan into the fire. But they have no other option, because if you are not doing what has to be done, then they have to show you that, and the only way they can show you that is by voting for somebody else. So please don't make this mistake again. Get down to work and make sure that these 10 systems are in place and functioning perfectly. Now, again, this getting these systems into place again involves the same story. It involves getting the correct consultants and putting them in place. We don't need many of them. These are fairly simple systems. Everybody's running these systems all over the world. What is not so simple is the sustainability and the resilience. So you have to get people and the processes. That's also not very easy. So these 3 elements have to be built in. We have to spend some money on that. That's what I'm talking about in terms of budgetary allocations. Then we get to this micro development policy, and micro development policy again is something that is very intricate, because fortunately we live in a country where there has been where we have our villages intact. We may be living in condominiums, but still the village structures are in place. There are Grama Niladaris and all these people running around, but these village structures have got to be strengthened and developed, because as we go forward, we have this national physical development policy with these separate regions, metro regions, and people are going to be encouraged to move into these metro regions, which is very good, because then they will have the kind of facilities that they don't have in rural areas. But when they do get into metro regions, then these village structures have to continue to operate. It is very important that the state have a very close relationship with the people, and they do that through the Grama Niladari, but that is not enough. What happened to the village doctor? What happened to the village nurse? What happens to the village policeman? What happens to the village whatnot? I mean, we need something new also. We need the village councillor. You see? The psychosocial councillor, who looks after the welfare of families, who knows when something is going wrong, because we are living in a complex world. People find it difficult to deal with this complex world, especially with an average national IQ of 79. People will have difficulties, and I know people are having difficulties. Today, even a factory worker has to have a bank account. These are not simple things to operate. People have to be given the kind of support that they require in order to master these skills. So psychosocial counsellor is very important. We need the Provision of Psychological Services Act, which I will be talking about separately. In this way, we need certain things which have to be put into place, and the budgetary allocations to do this have to be put in place right now in this very first budget of the government, new government, right? If this new government is serious. If the government is not serious, well, okay, we'll sit back and watch what they're going to do, and come 5 years, we'll have to decide what we're going to do about getting things done. Now, that is, I have also given the rough estimates of what this is going to cost, and interestingly, I remember some time ago, this organization called FUTA, all these university students, highly educated academics, asked for 6% of GDP. They wanted 6% of GDP to develop the education system. At that time, I remember asking some of them, look here, 6% of GDP is a lot of money. Can you tell me exactly what you're going to change in the education system? Or are you simply going to increase your salaries? I never got a good answer to that question. Although one person, I will not mention his name, one person said, look, I understand what you're saying. This is what I am also concerned about. Right? So 6% of GDP is a huge amount of money which you can do a lot. You could have started a new education system from scratch. Nothing of the sort has happened. And I don't know whether they got their 6% or not. But what I want to tell you is that all these budgetary allocations that I'm asking for, and what I'm saying is required, comes to just about 8% of GDP. So FUTA wanted 6% of GDP just for one system, for the education system alone. And I'm telling you, you can change the whole system. You can change all 10 of these systems. You can move towards the realization of the potential of the island. You can move towards the Trans-Asia Highway, everything for 8% of GDP. I think that's a good deal. I think that makes sense, and I think it can be done, provided they are willing to do it. I cannot influence the government in any way, because I'm not part of the government, and governments have their own way of functioning. It was a good thing that Ravi Karunanaike actually opened this out to the public and said, please make your recommendations. So I have made these recommendations. I'm not just telling you about it. I put it down in writing, I put the numbers together, done the calculations, and I have sent it to him. So it's now we can just watch and see. Now it gives me some satisfaction, because I know that now the government cannot say we did not know what has to be done. And I'm putting this work into that precisely to avoid that kind of a situation. I don't want the government to say we didn't know what has to be done. No, now you know. And I did not send this just to Ravi Karunanaike, because Ravi Karunanaike is one man and the government has more than one person in it. I sent it to the president, and I also sent a copy to the prime minister, and I sent copies to I think 4 or 5 others who I think are intelligent enough to understand what I'm saying. So let's see, maybe something will happen. I mean, there are problems because if you just look at one of these budgetary provisions and say, hey, that sounds good, we'll implement that. Well, that's better than nothing, but it won't have much of an impact. This is a holistic package. You have to take the whole thing. If you take bits and pieces of it, well, okay, so it's fine. I mean, like you go buy a Benz car and you buy the tire and come home. Great, nice tire. You can put it on your wall. But that's different from getting the whole Benz car, right? So, I mean, I hope that this time you guys have elected some real smart people who can understand those things. This whole thing about, holistic interventions and all that. I hope you guys have kind of elected the correct guys. If you have, we can probably see something significant happening. If you have not, then back to business as usual.